Hi, I'm Nancy. Welcome to Mindful Yoga. Today we're going to start with some breathing and a poem by Lucille Clifton called Generations. Then we'll be moving through some qigong practices as well as into some isometric toning of our asana or yoga postures and ending with some feelings of whole body continuity through our muscles and connective tissues as we do some twists and bridge poses. So let's get started. Have a seat that is, number one, comfortable for you. If you can sit so that your knees are a little lower than your hips if you're on the ground, or you could be in a chair for a few minutes, that would be fine too. Just beginning to arrive on the mat. Beginning to feel the breath as it comes in your nose, down your throat, into your lungs. No judgment, but just noticing what's the breath like right now. Bringing the attention to the diaphragm as it dips down towards the belly and comes up a bit as you exhale. Just muting all once again. Continuing with that attention onto the diaphragm, letting the diaphragm massage the belly on the inhale and letting go down through shoulders and belly and legs on the exhale. Inhale more through the left side of your diaphragm and up into your left lung. Consciously feeling and filling that left lung with air. And drawing the attention to the right side of the diaphragm and the right lung. Filling that right lung with oxygen. Starting to feel the breath spread through the whole body, into every cell. Now breathing into both lungs generously. Massaging the belly, letting the lungs fill so that the collarbone even raises slightly. And letting it all go. Taking time for the inhale and taking time for the exhale. Lucille Clifton writes, people who are going to be in a few years bottoms of trees bear a responsibility to something besides people. If it was only you and me sharing the consequences, it would be different. It would be just generations of men. But this business of war, these war kinds of things, are erasing those natural, obedient generations who ignored pride, stood on no hind legs, begged no water, stole no bread, did their own things. And the generations of rice, of coal, of grasshoppers, by their own invisibility, denounce us. Take a few more breaths, coming back to your just natural breathing, witnessing without judgment, just getting to know the body. Perhaps the breath is a little longer and fuller than it was, a little softer, smoother. And then we'll start our practice by standing with some qigong practices. Let feet come a little wider than hip width apart and begin to pour your weight into one foot and then pour your weight into the other foot, pouring side to side and pressing down through that foot, being very soft on the side that is not bearing the weight. So one side getting weight, the other side being very empty. Imagine there is a squishy sponge under the foot that presses down, allowing that foot to sink down into that sponge, into that warm water that it's expunging. Shoulders relaxed, neck loose, head bobbleaceous. Relax down through heavy arms and fingertips. Then beginning to raise the heel on one side and fold in the groin, the guinal fold, back and forth. Turning the body like a cylinder, shoulders, hips, turning together, letting the belly button lead the way. Turning like a cylinder. And slowly allowing the arms to swing along, just come along for the ride. Finding a comfortable pace for yourself, slower or faster. Neck is still relaxed. Relax down through the muscles and the bones. Starting to open up space in the cells, between the tissues. And then tapping, drumming in order to waken up parts of our body. One hand comes up to the eye of the shoulder and then the other. These can be little love taps or a little harder than love taps, whacks. Depends what part of the body you're on for one thing. Can you feel the vibrations not only in the skin, but into the inner body? And coming to the sides of the breast area, along the sides of the ribs. Feeling those vibrations through the ribs. And then down along the sides of the waist, just above the hips. Now coming to the breastbone. You might have a loose fist or a flat hand. Experiment, see what the body wants, how it wants to be wrung. And coming down to the solar plexus. Might be a little bit more of a love tap here. And coming to the belly button. And the lower abdomen. Just waking up the channels of the body. Then one hand to the front of the waist, one hand to the back of the waist. The kidneys in the back there. The liver and pancreas in the front. And down, front of the abdomen, low, and the sacrum in the back. And then slowly, gradually letting yourself unwind and come to a resting position for a few moments, feeling the vibrations through the body. You're like a bell that has been rung. Now bring the arms out slightly from the body in an A-frame shape. The fingers extend out. They're kind of perky, almost turned up at the end. Feel that energy coming down from the shoulders, through the elbows, through the wrists, through the knuckles of the thumb. The knuckles having a little more space between them. Through the index finger, a little more space there. Stretching out through the middle finger, a little more space. Space through the ring finger. Room between the knuckles and the pinky. Through the palms themselves. Through the elbows, joints, the shoulders. Feeling the head hanging from the heavens as if it were on a golden thread from the heavens. and it went down into your spine so that the spine is able to create space between the vertebrae, just hanging from the heavens. This too is a kind of isometric contraction where we're extending the muscles and contracting them to a certain extent, giving them some load, and then relax down. Bring the hands to the back of the waist. Feet are under the hips now. Give some rub on the back of the waist. Then coming down across the buttocks, down the back of the legs, rubbing down, coming across the ankles and up the insides of the legs, up the abdomen around the belt line, rubbing the kidneys, and down the back, stimulating the kidney and bladder meridians as we go up and down the legs here, rubbing the kidneys down the back, across and up the inside, around the belt. One last time, rubbing the kidneys, soft in the knees, and up the inside of the legs. Then we're going to have an easy forward fold, rising up slowly, feeling the vertebrae unwinding. The palms are up as they come to the abdomen, lifting up the body, turning at the forehead, and pushing up towards the heavens. Then coming down once again into that mild forward fold, slowly feeling the vertebrae unwind, strong through the core as you come up, palms up, pushing up towards the sky, and coming down into forward fold one more time. Slow unwinding, feeling that space between the vertebrae, coming up, turning, lifting up, and then bring the arms wide, reach out through the fingers as you come down, and bring the hands to the side. Feet are just a teeny bit wider than hip width apart, buoyant, soft through the hip joints and the knees and the ankles, relax through the shoulders. Palms come together, fingers are forward with the thumbs up, palms together. Come over to one side slightly, opening up between the hip and the ribs on one side and squeezing it together on the other side. Just a gradual side bend here. This is called wag the dragon's tail in qigong. Opening up from the hip, up through the armpit. Feeling space from the ear down through the knee. Just again, going at your own pace. And then feeling from the ear or the top of the head all the way down, hip, knee, down to the ankle. One more time on each side. Coming up right, bring the palms so the fingers are up, palms are still together, slice up through the middle like a fountain, water reaching up and splashing out with your fingers, and then settling back down as the body through shoulders and hips and feet settle down. Crossing the wrists as if you're a fountain, turning, pushing up to the heavens, this active part, and then settling down, relaxing down, sinking down towards the earth. You can bend the knees a little bit here if you would like, as you begin to be the fountain, the water splashing up into the air, rippling down, down into the pool below. Then bringing the hands to the side. We're going to have soft fists that come up the front of the body. The arms reach out to the side and then settle down very softly along the sides of the body. At the same time, we're going to lift the heels slightly as the hands rise up the chest. Heels stay up as the hands come out, and then everything comes down. Finding your own rhythm here, letting part of the breath and attention stay down with the feet, even as the arms rise up and the heels rise up. This will steady you and allow you to raise the heels more easily. So we have a very active yang part of this as we lift up, leaving part of ourselves down there with our feet, reach out, and then a yin part as everything relaxes down. One last time. And now opening the joints. Nose makes a circle in front of you, as fast or slow as you would like, as small or large as you would like. Just beginning to bring some hydration and lubrication to the neck and back around the opposite direction. Guarding if there's any dizziness, always adapting, changing out the exercise or just resting if it doesn't work with your body as it is right now. 2 more times round. Then eyes to the horizon, shoulders come up towards the ears, shoulder blades squeeze together, they come down, around towards the front, and squeeze up to the ears. Letting your attention be on the shoulder blades, and they're gliding across the muscles and ribs as the shoulders turn. Moving to feel. Getting to know our bodies. 1 more time around. And bring the shoulders down. Now bring the hands interlaced, fingers interlaced together, and we'll turn the wrists. The elbows are kind of coming up and down like pistons. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Unlace and interlace in the opposite way with the other index finger forward, and lead with the other hand for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hands come along the sides of the body, feet are a little wider apart, knees are soft and hips are soft as you begin to circle the hips, coming front and side and back, getting to hydrate the synovial fluid, that fluid that's inside the hip capsules, inside all of our joint capsules, which by moving, we move around, we warm it, and we get rid of some of that stiffness that we sometimes feel. 1 more time round, and then change direction. Making whatever shape your hips make. Soft through the shoulders, long through the back of the neck, little tuck in the chin, so you can have that length in the back of the neck. Soft down through the legs, sinking down through the feet a bit. 1 more time around. Then bringing the hands to the hips, we're going to stand on 1 foot and bring the other foot back behind. Finding your foundation leg, letting the energy come down through the hips and the knees into the heel, cross to the big toe. Other foot comes back, and you're turning from the front to the back of the toes if that works for you, or staying on the back of the toes, the bottom of the toes, either one is fine. Circling around, feeling that circle through the toes, the feet, the ankles, and around the opposite direction. feeling it through the knees and up into the hip. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring that foot down. Weight comes into that leg, down through the hip, across the foot, kind of crisscrossed across the foot, right through the arch. Bring the other foot back and start to turn. So always extending up through that foundation leg side so that the other side can be free to move. Again, feeling toes and ankles, knees, and hips. 3, 2, 1, around the opposite direction, maybe even feeling it up into the intestines and the kidney area. And bring that foot back. We're going to do a cat-cow as we stand. So first becoming concave, the stomach sinking in, the chest sinking in, and then coming forward through the chest and the shoulder blades come together some. So coming back and forth, just letting the spine be free to open the spine towards the back and then open the spine towards the front. Finding your own version of this. And it might become a wave or it might not. And either way is fine. For 3, 2, and 1. Bring the feet very wide. Hands are on the thighs, just above the knees. Bring one shoulder towards the opposite knee, and then the other shoulder towards the opposite knee, back and forth, beginning to develop a twist in the thoracic spine, the middle spine, where we have a fair amount of movement. A lumbar spine doesn't have so much movement, so it's very still during this. It couldn't move much anyway because it's holding us up, right, at the moment. And then we're going to come back through center and do a cat-cow again in this position. So the tailbone lifts a bit, the gaze lifts, then arching through the back as the tailbone goes down towards the floor, letting the tailbone and its movement ripple up through the spine. Feeling the wave going from the lumbar spine up through the thoracic spine into the cervical neck spine. One more time in each direction. And bring the body up. Feet are under the hips, knees bend, hands come in front of you, palms are down as you sweep up, hands are overhead. Exhale the back of the head, hovering the hands behind the back of the head. Then inhale as the hands come across the chest, hovering just above the skin. Then bring the hands down the back of the buttocks and down the sides of the legs, hovering above the skin. Knees bend, palms are down. Arms reach up as you unwind your knees. Come down the back of the head, the front of the chest and torso, down the sides of the knees, the legs. Bend the knees. And sweep up, inhale up, exhale back of head, inhale front of torso, exhale down the sides of the legs, bend the knees, inhale up, exhale back of head, inhale torso, exhale legs, inhale, sweep up. 2 more times. And bend knees, sweep up as you unravel your legs. And one last time, back of head, front of torso, Down the gallbladder meridian, which is the side of your legs. Bend the knees one last time and sweep up. Reach up with your fingers and then fingers out to the side and down to the sides. Coming into mountain pose. Finding your feet right under your hips in a yogic fashion. So your second toe is in line with your fingers, with the hands against the hip bones. Arms along the side. Finding the weight coming down into the heels, the center to the outside of the heels, across to the mounds of the big toe and second toe. Brightening through the arch, which brings some brightening up through the shins, up into the knees. So don't overdo it, a gentle brightening up through the thighs, the pelvic floor, up through the middle of the diaphragm, up through the fascia or connective tissue around the heart and the thymus and the trachea, the voice box, up to the back of the neck, to the root of the tongue. And relaxing down around that structure, trusting the bones to hold you up, relaxing down through muscles, through tissues of the ligaments, tendons, the organs, relaxing down through chest and belly, arms and fingertips, thighs, calves, down into those squishy sponges underneath your feet. Trusting gravity and trusting your bones to hold you up, and muscles, of course. One more breath here. And we're coming into chair pose. Arms come out in front, hips go back, palms are down in front or facing each other. Either one is fine. We'll come up and down a few times. So just coming down a little bit at first with the hips in the back. Hips are back to save the pressure on the knees, and maybe coming down a little bit farther each time. One more time, down, and then let's hold it down here for a moment. Let the arms come back along the sides, the hips rise slightly, almost as if you're skiing down a hill as the arms come back and forth. Measuring where your hips should be and how much your knees should be bending. Then bringing the arms forward, find a place that you can sustain for a few moments. For 3, 2, and 1. Bring the palms together, fingers up, slice up as you straighten your legs. Then bringing yourself back down, hips come back, and the opposite elbow goes to opposite thigh. It may not touch. It might not be right for your range of motion to touch. Bring the arms up again, slicing up. Coming down into chair, other elbow comes to the opposite thigh in that direction. Mine doesn't actually touch. Of course, I could make it touch, but it doesn't feel like that's quite right for my hips and shoulders. Always discerning what is just right for your body. And one more time. Up, twist to one side, slice up, come down, twist to the other side, and come up. Now bring the hands out in front of you. So my hands are straight out in front from the shoulders. My feet are under my hips. An isotonic movement is one in which you move down, in this case our shoulders, elbows, fingers, wrists, move down through resistant air and then move up through resistant air, an isotonic movement. So we're loading our muscles, but in a gentle kind of way. But by pretending we're going through this viscous resistant air, we're increasing just a bit the load on our joints and muscles. So if there is stiffness or injury, or you're just not as strong as you might be, or there's been arthritis. This is one way to deal with that, with a low load, gradually building energy in the muscles. Now bring the arms out straight in front of you, and we'll do an isometric exercise where we're pushing the backs of the hands up towards the ceiling. We're not really pushing the ceiling, but we're pretending we're doing that. Then push down as if you were pushing the floor down. These are isometric. So feeling resistance and contracting the muscles against that resistance that you're imagining. Now flip the palms over so the palms are up towards the ceiling. Push up towards the ceiling so your muscles are contracting, placing some low load on the joints and the muscles, and then push down towards the floor. We're going to bring this kind of movement into our asana or yoga postures. Now bring the thumbs straight up so my palms are facing each other out in front of me. Push up with the thumbs, down with the pinkies, out with the backs of the hands, and in with the palms, all at the same time, causing contraction to happen throughout the long muscle fibers of your arms. There's lots of nuclei in those muscles, and around those nuclei there are mitochondria. And bring the arms down. Bring one hand to chest and one hand to belly. Just giving some time for the body to integrate and feel. The mitochondria that are around the multiple nuclei in your long muscle cells are the fuel cells, the energy building cells of our muscles. So these low load exercises are designed to increase the mitochondria, increase the energy building structures in our cells before we're really using weights that might increase the dimension of our muscles. We're going to come into a warrior one. So one leg comes out in front and one behind, little space between the heels, back foot at about 30 degrees, and front toes forward with that knee bent over the ankles. Finding a place that's comfortable for you, and if you need to bring this hip a little forward or turn the toes forward in the back, that's okay. Opening the arms, they're a little behind the body and the palms are open, peaceful warrior. Relaxing through the palms and out through the fingertips, bringing softness to your peaceful warrior. Then bringing an isometric resistance to your peaceful warrior, down through your arms, through your hands and fingers, as they push forward and push back at the same time. Contracting this low load exercise to build the fuel capacity, the energy capacity of your muscles. And bringing the arms in towards the body. Swing the arms up, bring the fingers so they're stretched up towards the ceiling. Relax down through the feet, press up through the feet, up through the legs, hips, up through the sternum and the crown, up through fingertips. So you're really long here. Again, an almost whole body isometric contraction, right, in this posture. Then opening from sternum down through pelvis, squeezing the shoulder blades together a bit, resisting the temptation to hinge at the neck or hinge at the waist. And then bring the arms down. One more time. First, stretching up, whole body, strong, engaged, opening through the front of the body, squeezing the shoulder blades together. Nice smooth spine. And bring it down. Bring the hands to the waist and the feet together, and bring the other foot back. Coming into warrior one on the other side, adjusting for the body in this side, for the hip and the ankle. Coming into peaceful warrior, and first allowing that relaxation down through the back of the neck, between the shoulder blades, down the arms, fingertips soft. Bring an isometric contraction, engaging through the arms, through the upper arms, the forearms, the wrists, the hands, the fingers. Reaching back and reaching forward at the same time. And you might feel some isometric contraction also happening in the body, which is kind of echoing what your arms are doing. And relaxing down and swinging the arms up, pressing feet down, lifting up through legs, hips, heart, eyes, up to the fingers. Again, a kind of isometric contraction here. And then opening up from pelvic floor all the way up through the sternum. A little squeeze through the shoulder blades. And bring it down. One more time. Arching up, reaching up long, engaged, and opening. And bring everything down. Let's come back to just a mountain pose for a moment. Loose through the neck, head is bobulaceous. Relax down through the shoulders, the arms, the fingers. Pelvic floor relaxed, down through legs, into those squishy sponges underneath your feet. This ability to engage the muscles and then let go in the muscles. Both important aspects of our bodily feeling and movement. Bring the hands together behind the buttocks. Reach down as the fingers interlace. And then soft through the knees and the hips, lifting up just as far as the shoulders allow as the torso comes forward. Judging how far forward you want to come and how far up you want to come with your hands, discerning for your body. And two more times, coming over into Yoga Mudra. Strong through the core as you come up the last time. Then bringing arms along the side. Feet are a little wider than hip width apart. A mild forward fold down, just hanging the arms down. Strong through the core as you bring those hanging arms up. Coming into a mild back bend as the arms are along the side of the body. Coming upright, up onto your toes, and then bouncing down on your heels. This is called ridding yourself of 1,000 illnesses. Forward fold down, mild back bend, up on your toes, upright through the crown, and down on a bounce through the heels. Two more times. Lifting up, opening in the front, upright, and bounce down. Upright, up through the heels, and bounce down. We're going to come into Warrior Two now and bring our isometric toning into the body and arms, particularly of Warrior Two. So finding your appropriate Warrior Two pose. And in this, the heel is more or less in line with the arch of the back foot, but always with the option to bring that back hip and foot forward a little bit if that is better for your range of motion and the particular hip that you have there. Feel the feet engaging with the earth, having that little conversation with the earth. Arches brighten up, engage. Feel that engagement coming up through the inner side of the leg, up through pelvic floor, through diaphragm, through heart, the root of the tongue. Hands come up to the chest and open out. Flip the palms over so that the palms are up towards the ceiling and the shoulder blades are floating down the back, just resting down the back. Keep the palms up. We're going to pretend we're pushing the ceiling up. So an isometric toning here as we push the ceiling up. Then imagine you're pushing the floor down, pushing down towards earth with the back of the arms and the hands. Now we're turning the hands so that the palms are forward and thumbs are up. Imagine that you're pushing forward, back, up and down, all at the same time, engaging from the chest muscles all the way out. Let the feet sink down a bit. You have a choice here. You can kind of let the rest of the body be part of this isometric contraction through the arms and chest, or you can relax through the rest of the body. So play with both of those and see what feels good. Then bending the front arm, coming down onto the front thigh, coming into side angle, long from the outer sole of the back foot, clear up through the fingertips. Sweeping that arm back to the back thigh, front arm comes up towards the sky, whatever the sky is giving us today. And one more time through both of those movements. Coming back through warrior two. Bring the hands into the waist. Turn the feet so both of them are slightly pigeon-toed. Feet are still wide. Hands come to the hip creases. Torso comes parallel. Knees and hips are soft. Hands come down, fingers down towards the earth. You might have a block there if you would like. Pushing out through the outer soles of the feet. Walk forward slightly into a wide-legged downward dog, lifting up through the hips and out through the feet, stretching up through the arms, through the sides of the body, up towards the hips. And then walking back, walk the hands over so that a hand comes to the opposite thigh, opening up on that side. What does it feel like here? Bringing the hand down and across and opening on the other side and feeling there. Hand comes down. Bring the hands up to the waist and then the torso parallel to the floor, strong through the core. Bring the body up, protecting the back of it. You might take a breath here, recollect. And we'll come into warrior two on the other side. So again, finding your warrior two, feeling down through your feet, connecting with the earth, engaging through the arch, through the inner legs, up through the middle of the pelvic floor, which is the perineum area, and then up through the middle of the diaphragm, through the heart and trachea area, behind the throat, up behind the eyes, opening through the chest, arms reach out to the sides. Flip the palms, shoulder blades can float down the back. Then begin that isometric engagement, chest out through arms, out through fingertips. Maybe imagining at the end of your fingertips are actually glowing with all of this mitochondrial energy that we're producing. Even though we call it a low load, it's still a load. And then pushing down towards the floor. Now flip the palms, back of the hands, push up towards the ceiling. Feel the engagement through the arms, through the chest. Decide whether you want engagement in the rest of your body. Because naturally, I think the rest of the body starts to come along with that isometric contraction, and that's fine, but be conscious of what is happening. Your other choice is to relax down. Then I think we didn't push with our palms down towards the earth, so doing that. Turning the palms towards the front, thumbs are up, pushing back and front and up and down all at the same time. Low load throughout the muscle fibers, building the number of energy-producing mitochondria. And then turning, relaxing a bit as you reach out through the fingertips. Let's come down in an isotonic as we come down through viscous air, pushing down the palms down on each side of the body. Turn the toes, heel toe the feet together. And just stand here a moment, relaxing down, trusting the bones once again. Trusting gravity, trusting that the body can relax down through the deep brain tissues and the neck, the lungs, the heart, the liver, pancreas, the intestines, down into legs, knees, the arches, the arms and the fingertips heavy. Then we'll come down onto the mat into a sitting position. Maybe you're glad to get back to the mat after all that. Coming into a cross-legged position, we're going to come into a twist. So one hand comes across to the opposite thigh and the other hand gently back behind. Bring the right hand across to the left thigh. So right hand on the left thigh, a slight turn to the left. Now draw the left hip to the left. So you're forward a little bit on your sits bones and your left hip is turning a hair towards the left. Then feel that length across the belly, and you might even bring the right hip back a little bit, turning the right hip a bit to the right. So kind of as if you're stretching between the hip bones. This spiral connectivity of the twist comes up from the left hip in this case, up across the front of the body, under the armpit. So if you can follow the line there, under the armpit, across the rhomboids, across the shoulder blades, across the spine of the upper back, then turning the chin, you can feel this up into the neck. So in this twist, we're really connecting the muscles and fascia or connective tissue from the left hip all the way up across the body, under the armpit, across the upper back, and up into the neck. If you turn your neck in this direction towards the left, you'll feel it in a certain way. If you turn your head the other direction, you'll feel the pull in your neck slightly differently. But you can see how the twist affects the neck and all the way up around that spiral of the body. Relax on that side, bring the hands around. So the left hand is on the right thigh. Again, bringing the right hip over to the right just slightly, and the left hip over to the left slightly, feeling that length across the belly, up across the front of the torso, under the armpit, across the rhomboids, across the spine, up into the neck, and turning the neck a little bit so you feel that connection between the neck and the right hip. And you can turn the neck if you would like, experimenting with the different stretches you get in the neck as part of that whole connected, continuous spiral of muscle and fascia. And relax down. Coming into the central channel of your body now, we're going to be turning the whole body from the pelvic floor, up through the diaphragm, up through the heart, behind the throat, behind the eyes, turning like a cylinder from side to side. Arms come into A-frame, being very neutral through the body, not coming back, not coming forward. If you want to see what it would feel like, you can come back and gaze up a little bit and you get the feeling of, oh yeah, okay, that's not neutral. And then coming back to neutral, finding that central channel. Arms might come up to shoulder level as you go back and forth a few more times. This allows us not only to spiral our spine, but also to become very aware of that central channel of the body. And bring the arms down. Let's bring the feet wide. Arms are back behind, supporting the shoulders. We're coming into a windshield wiper here. Just relaxing through the hip joints, the knees, across the bottom of the feet. We're pretty open already in the hips, so this should feel just like cotton candy. And then let the arm enter in so we get more of a free moving whole body twist here. Next time, come over, bring the whole body into your version of the whole body twist down on the floor. Pushing up, coming across, and coming into full body twist on the other side. Relax into the twist. Everything can connect down to the earth now. And then lifting back up, we're going to come into a lying position on the mat. So lying back, feeling the earth underneath you and where you're connected to the earth. Bring the left foot over to the outer edge of the mat. Left foot to the outer edge of the mat. Right foot crosses over it. So the right leg is just, the right ankle is over the left ankle. Arms come up above the head. And then the fingers and the hands and arms twist over to the right side a bit. You are a banana, basically, with the feet over to the, the left side. I think I said it wrong. And the arms, the hands also over to the left side. So we're a banana with the hips a little to the right and the fingers and toes a little to the left. Just enjoying that stretch along the body. Then coming through center, right foot goes out to the side of the mat, left foot goes over it, arms and hands go over to the right, and the hips are over to the left slightly. So no strain, just a easy banana on the ground. Coming back through center, arms along the side, legs come straight up from the hips. Open the legs and very slowly crisscrossing them, horizontal scissors in a very slow yogic kind of way. You might imagine some isotonic movement here as the legs contract slightly to create some load on the muscles as they push through slightly viscous air, crossing and then separating. Last time, bring the legs in, hugging the legs towards the chest, relaxing back behind the waist, behind the arm, behind the shoulder blades, and then bringing the knees out to the armpits, feeling what there is to feel there, relaxing down through the shoulder blades. Legs reach up in the air into happy baby, hands coming to wherever they most easily and comfortably land. Taking any movement that feels good here, maybe just lying here feels good. Relaxing down through the back of the neck and the skull, down through the back of the waist. Or maybe you're rocking. Maybe you choose to push one foot up and then the other. Please bring your feet down now and bring them 4 to 6 inches below your buttocks where they're comfortable. Arms are along the side. We're coming into bridge pose now. Tuck the shoulder blades in, the shoulders in a bit. Elbows come in towards the waist a bit. Press into the heels. Hips rise, glutes engage. Long from the knees to the shoulders. And exhale down. Inhale up, pushing into the heels. Spread the toes a little bit. Sink the heels down in and come back down. One more time up. Long through the low front ribs. Long from the knees, up through the hips, up through the shoulders. Soft through the neck. Soft through the chin. And bring it back down. Bring it up once more. This time, bring the elbows towards in a bit and interlace the fingers underneath the hips. The heels are firm and the toes lift up. So we're lifting up the toes here. Notice that that brings some contraction to the muscles in the front of the shins, the lower legs, and some length to the quadriceps, which are the big muscles that go from the knees to the hips. Then letting the sternum come up towards the throat and the collarbone a bit. You feel some length from the hips up through the shoulders. Again, soft through the chin and the neck. For 3, 2, and 1. And bring it down. So feeling the continuity of muscles and connective tissue in that bridge pose. Relax the legs out, extending them out. Feeling some relaxation down through the eyes, the nose, the mouth, the front of the throat. Right leg is extended out, left foot comes up by the right thigh. Bring the hips over to the left slightly as the left foot comes up on the right thigh. Right hand slowly draws that knee across. And the back arm can be where it would like to be. It might come up above the head on the side of, with the upper arm on the side of the ear, extending that twist up. Flex the foot, the bottom foot, the foot of the bottom leg that is extended out. Flex the ankle. So you're feeling some engagement here through the leg, up across the hip, from the right hip, the bottom hip, up across under the armpit, up through that arm. And if you turn the neck slightly, you'll feel it up through the neck as well. Feeling that connectivity, that continuity of muscles and fascia connecting the whole body. And relax down into that, no need to strain. Two more breaths here. Release and unwind. Bring the hips back to center. Extend the left leg out. Right foot comes up by the left thigh. And hips go over to the right slightly. Right foot up on left thigh. Left hand draws that knee across. Other arm comes to a comfortable place. It might come up with the upper arm by the ear. Flexing the foot of the bottom leg that's extended, feeling that echoing contraction of muscles up through the leg, up through the bottom hip, across the belly, up to the armpit, through the arm, and if you turn the neck, up through the neck as well. Aware of the strong connections in the body. We talk about individual muscles. In fact, it's all connected. Valuing this body, valuing the bodies of all the creatures on earth. One more breath here. And then bringing everything around. Let the knees lean in towards each other. And just one or two more breaths here. In gratitude for this body that firms up and lets go, that tells us what we need to do. Stay here and relax if you'd like, or roll over and come up into a sitting position as you wish. May we cherish those who stand on no hind legs, who beg no water and steal no bread. Namaste. Good to be with you.